Oh man, I hope 2020 is treating you well. I'm sorry if this is going to get your blood pressure up way too fast this new year, but Let's Learn Music Theory came up on the Wheel of Destiny, so today we are going to talk about everything there is to talk about E-shaped bar chords. But first, I must blow the kazoo of 26,000 Jamily members here. I can't blow. Forgot how to blow a kazoo. Wow. And second, I must thank Victor for signing up for the Patreon supporter of the cause club. Victor, thank you so very much for your kind donation of turtle food money. If you'd like to know what that's all about, the link, of course, will be in the description. And without any further ado, here to obfuscate matters further is our music theory expert and my kindergarten teacher, Miss Poopadoo. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Hello. Happy New Year, everybody. All right, the E-shaped bar chord. Bar chords are where people stop playing guitar. So if you can just power through this thing, which is not a small thing, it's a big thing, but if you can power through this thing, well then gosh, you can do anything. So no matter how frustrated you get, heed those words. Here we have a little chord chart. Of course, the E-shaped bar chord is named such because it looks like an E, right? If you take away that line, you've got what is left is the E shape as an open chord, but we want to be able to play this shape anywhere, so we have the bar. This is where your finger goes, I can't do that with the beard on, all the way across the strings. Now, of course, you probably know that, but what I want to talk about next is the voicing of the E-shaped bar chord. Voicing is just a fancy way of saying what order do we hear the notes in. And if you've been following this Let's Learn Music Theory series, you know that there are major scales and minor scales, and that major chords and minor chords are made of the 1, the 3, and the 5th notes from those respective scales, right? So when we're looking at our big shape, we have got a root, a 5th. You might remember that power chords are made up of roots and fifths, and here we have contained within our bar chord a power chord there. Another root, which of course is the second octave contained in your 3-finger power chord, and then we have a third, which you may have figured out because when you change E major to E minor, of course you take your pointer finger off that G string, and what you've changed is the major third to a minor third, which is 1/2 step lower than the major third, right? And then we have another 5th and another root. So there we have it, the voicing of the root 6. That means the root note is on the 6th string, major, because it's got a major third, not a minor third, bar chord. But the only one I really want you to care about is this root, because wherever you put the bar, this lowest note of your root 6 major E-shaped bar chord, that is the bar chord you are playing. So if you put this on the 5th fret, that's an A. You're playing an A as a bar chord. If you put it on the 6th fret, it's an A sharp or a B flat. So that's the bar chord you are playing. And to make these bar chords minor, of course, all we have to do is take what was the major third and move it down 1/2 step. You don't have to do much. You just lift your middle finger off, of course. Ryan will show you that in a moment. But then we are left with an E minor shape, right? And your getting better at it takes care of that whole fret anyway. So yeah. And I want to point out just one more thing about this shape with all the green off now. Back to our root 6 major, because it's an E major shape, right? Bar chord. If you think about this much of it, that is now, you'll recognize as your baby F shape. So E and F, they're the same shape. F is like the bar chord version of the F shape. So you could call this an F-shaped bar chord. You could. You could call it an E-shaped bar chord, but this is going to come in handy in a minute when Ryan shows you some tips and tricks if you're having trouble with your bar chords. Back to you, Ryan. My kindergarten teacher. Thank you, Miss Poopadoop. All right, so let's take a look at these things. If you play an E chord and you move it up 1 fret, you have a flamenco sounding thing. Because the E string and the B strings don't move along, relatively speaking, the same way. So what you have to do if you want to make an F is not just move your E shape up 1, of course. You got to put a capo down and then play your E chord. Now now we're playing an F, but we've got an E and an F in our song. You can't be putting a capo on and off the whole time. I've seen some crazy guys do it, but that's crazy. Anyways, so we're going to switch which fingers we are using. Instead of 1, 2, and 3, we're going to use middle finger on G string, 1st fret for now, ring finger on A string, 2nd fret, and pinky finger on D string, 2nd fret. We've got our same E shape, right? Now we move it up 1 fret and use our pointer finger for the capo. Your pointer finger has become the capo. We've taken our E shape and moved it up 1 fret, the same, all in kind, relatively speaking. And now you can play every single major chord, because wherever you put this, as Miss Poopadoob said, it's a major chord, and the major chord it is whatever this note is on the E string. So you got to memorize your E string, but don't make flashcards. Just pick one to remember really well. Pick G sharp on the 4th fret, or you could remember my Grandma Always Brings, the first 3 dots on the E string, Crappy Deviled Eggs, the first 3 dots on the A string, and then you at least have G, A, and B. So if you need C, and you've watched this series, and you know that C is 1/2 step higher than B, and we got to play a C bar chord, you'll know that it happens on the 8th fret. Or if you need A flat, you'll go to A, and you'll go down 1 fret, because flat means go down 1 fret, and sharp means go up 1 fret. So A sharp would be on the 6th fret. F sharp on the 2nd fret. There it is, every single major bar chord. And of course, to make it minor, all you do is remove your middle finger, and now we're left with an E minor shape, right? So F minor, God forbid that ever comes up. It's one of the worst bar chords to play, but we will move our shape up 1 and add our capo. F minor. But if you're the kind of person who likes to walk up the string, have it all listed out for you, well, the open E string, of course, is E. There's no such thing as E sharp, so we go straight to F. There's a sharp everywhere except for after E and after B. So be sure never to say B sharp or E sharp. All right, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, or B flat's the same note, B on the 7th fret, then we have straight to C, because there's no such thing as B sharp or E sharp, right? Be sure never to say B sharp or E sharp. So the 8th fret is C, the 9th fret, of course, is C sharp, followed by D, D sharp, and that's it. We've run out of stuff. The 12th fret is where everything begins again. The 12th fret is E. There's a really high E bar chord. But this is such a hard thing to do with your hand. I understand if you're just beginning to play the guitar, or if you've been playing for a while and you've just avoided bar chords at all costs. This is not an uncommon tale, and wasn't with me as well long ago. But I want to talk about the pinch, because when you start doing all this stuff, you get unnatural and you get tense and you get weird. But what I want you to do is take your finger off of the guitar neck and just do this. Just put your thumb and your forefinger together. Now remember the way that feels when you put your hand on the guitar. We're going to do the same exact thing, except there's a guitar neck in the way. And what you'll end up with, people obsessed with where their thumb should go, and all I want you to do is do the pinch, and then do it on the guitar neck. It's just putting your thumb and your forefinger together. There's just a guitar neck in the way. And then from there, add your other fingers. So we're doing G on the 3rd fret, right? Middle finger on the G string, 4th fret, pinky finger on the D string, 5th fret, ring finger on the A string, 5th fret, and now you've got a G bar chord there. Or you might not like to do it in that order. You might have a better time adding these fingers first and then doing your pinch. Remember, just putting your thumb and your forefinger together just as naturally as you would if there was no guitar neck there. The guitar neck is just getting in the way. Let's cheat. My goal is never for you to play guitar perfect, correct. My goal is for you to have fun playing the guitar. So if you're just not into that, I would suggest try doing that for 5 or 10 minutes a day if you're kind of new to it, and then stop. Just stop. Do that a couple of times a week to the extent that it's any fun for you. And if it becomes not fun, for God's sake, stop doing it and do it again in 2 days. But, so you can play the song that you want to play that requires a bar chord, well, you can play a power chord wherever that bar chord may be. So if you've got G sharp in your song and you just don't don't want to play G sharp and there's no way to capo it because the song changes keys and so forth, you can just play your power chord on the 4th fret of the E string. That is G sharp. That's also G sharp minor because power chords don't have thirds in them. So if you're presented with G sharp, power chord on the 4th fret. If you're presented with G sharp minor, power chord on the 4th fret. Works either way. B can be on the 7th fret, of course, because grandma always brings. F sharp would be on the 2nd fret. Just replace your bar chord with a power chord so that you can play the song and then, work on your bar chords another time. Or you can play your F shape. Of course, this is F, which we now know is it's an E shape, right? This is F, and we don't have our low root note anymore, so we don't know what we're playing, but good thing that there's an E string and an E string. So all the notes on this E string are the exact same as all the notes on this E string. So if you need to play a B flat power chord, or bar chord rather, and you don't want to, find B flat on your baby E string, or A sharp, B flat, A sharp, same note, for our purposes anyways, and then make your little F shape. There you go. There's a B flat as an F. You might be having trouble with your bar there. That's okay. Your little tiny mini bar there. Just don't do it. Do just the D, the G, and the B strings. You'll mute that baby E string kind of naturally anyways. But this one does have a minor corollary, and what you can do for that is you can play a minor 7 chord, which would just be, let's say you need B flat minor. Play 6, 6, 6, 6 on all of the strings. That is a B flat minor 7. I guess this is a bar chord, right? It's got a bar, so there you go. Or an F minor, 1, 1, 1, 1. The minor 7s are generally replaceable for their regular minor counterparts, so that's a great way to do it if you want to make sure you have a minor 3rd in your chord. G sharp, minor 7, fits real great with G sharp minor. There it is. Just you're working on your bar there. Cheating is not a bad thing. I always start these videos thinking, well, this is going to be a quick one, and then 12 minutes later, I'm still talking. The last tip I have for you for making your bar chords easier is get thinner gauge strings. The standard, the usual, there's umpteen different variations of which thickness each string is, but if you play 12s and you're having trouble on your electric guitar, go change them with 11s. If you're on an acoustic guitar and you're just having the hardest time in the entire world, if you're new, get electric guitar strings and put them on your acoustic guitar. You will sacrifice a little bit of tone and you will gain a lot of enjoyment because it will be quite a lot easier to play your bar chords. But if you've got the guitar with the bow in it and the strings are this far, off your guitar neck because it needs to go to the guitar doctor, take your guitar to the guitar doctor. It will make everything a lot easier to push down and you'll have a much more fun time playing your bar chords. But this is huge because now you can play every single major and minor chord that exists. Every single major chord, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, etc. Every single minor chord, E minor, F minor, F sharp minor, G minor, G sharp minor, A minor, etc. And that's all that I have to say about our E-shaped or root 6 major bar chords. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope that was helpful. I know bar chords is a place where a lot of people struggle, and I know I was thinking about doing E and A-shaped bar chords because they're the most common in one video, but I have a lot of students, personally, in person, who have trouble making heads or tails of which one they're playing, so I wanted to take time to do just one at a time. So all you got to remember is your shape and the fact that the root note is on the E string, so whichever note you are on, that is the chord you are playing. Thank you all so much for being here. I'll see you next time with more stuff. Good luck. But of course, if you're the kind of person who watches to the end, then you've made it to the safe place where I will share the Do the Evolution comment of the day or of the week or of the whatever. This one comes from Brushy Local on my Even Flow campfire video, who says, F word Pearl Jam. Thank you, Brushy. I can totally understand why you left that comment. I often spend my time looking up songs for bands that I don't like and expressing my displeasure. Have a great day, everybody.